When we approach a turf system, right, whether it be 200 square feet or 2,000 square feet, what will happen with the turf blades over time, they'll start laying down. And so we know that for our system or our service to be successful, the very first step is the blooming process. We take our blooming tool and pretty much brush up all the dust, dirt, debris from the blades, and that's our first step. With that same turf system that we look at, we know that over time, dust, dirt, debris builds up over in the system in between the blades, and it gets hard, right? And with this thin layer of solid material, it hinders drainage. In order for our service to be most effective, we need to decompact, and that's the second step to the blooming process, right? Is we take that brush, add more pressure to it, penetrates the blades in a deeper fashion, basically decompacting all that compacted dirt to allow for full penetration of our product. This is actually one of the most important steps, right? And this will really hinder drainage, as most dogs shed substantially. And imagine, small little fibers over time in between this blade system builds this crosshatch of just a barrier. And you won't see it until we start removing that hair with the tools that we use, and you start seeing it fly up in the air, and you'd be really surprised on how much actually gets removed. So that's part of our service too, is hair removal. Part of our service is we'll do minor, like if an edge is lifted, we'll tuck it back in. It's rare, but we'll do it. One of the steps it's more critical in sports surfaces when we do schools or athletic fields, we'll take a magnet and sweep over the area and it'll lift. You'd be really surprised what we remove. Hairpins, razor blades, screws. It's rare that we do it in a residential application, but we would do it if a customer asked. One of the steps is you'll have two edges that meet in the middle, and sometimes you'll see a little bit of a lift. It's a pretty easy repair. We don't run into it that often, but we'll adjust it. And I use the word adjust instead of repair, because repair is a completely different context, right? We'll adjust it if we need to and fix it, but again, it's rare, but it is included in the service. What will happen over time with turf system typically is the sediment will build up towards the edges. And if the edges aren't cut accurately to whatever it's meeting up against, whether it be a concrete deck or a wood deck or even bender board, a sediment will build up and weeds will just start growing along the edges. And so it's a pretty simple process. We remove it. We don't use weed killer, right? Because we're not licensed to apply a weed killer, but we will remove it. Our service includes application of a granular product, which is a urine deodorizer. And what that product does, it absorbs the moisture and neutralizes urine. And we spread that along the entire turf system. And that's included. This is the most important step for us, and it's our own formulation of the product's called TurFresh. And it has very high grade concentration of enzymes, or what we call it's basically a good bacteria. It uses a technology called bioaugmentation, so it actually changes the molecular makeup of what causes the odor. Our application will eliminate that completely. And our service comes with a 30-day warranty. If for some reason a couple weeks later the odor comes back, or we may have missed something, or we go back at no charge. That's essentially the last step in our process, is the application of our TurFresh product. We want to make sure that cleanliness and quality and being able to see beyond the obvious are some traits that our turf techs are constantly trained on. We're constantly talking about them, on how to build value other than just showing up and doing some work. And we're pretty damn good at it.